Welcome to ypww, Lesson 13. The lesson text is found in Genesis chapter 28, verses 20 through 21, and then Genesis chapter 24, verse 30. The topic is Jacob's life-changing experience in Penuel, Part 2. The aim of this lesson is to emphasize that a genuine relationship with God will bring a life-changing experience. The memory verse says, "And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God." From Genesis 28, verses 20 through 21. Genesis 28, verses 20 to 21 is what I just read, so I will not read it again. Genesis 32, verses 24 to 30. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Penuel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. The introduction for today's lesson. Jacob had a love at first sight encounter with Laban's daughter Rachel. On his journey, as he entered into the land, he came upon a well in a field. Rachel arrived to water the flock, and he instantly fell in love with her. He made an agreement with her father. He would work 7 years if he could marry her. Laban agreed, but at the end of the 7 years, he gave Jacob his other daughter, Leah, instead. The law of his people was that the eldest daughter had to marry first. However, a week later, Laban allowed Jacob to marry Rachel. Although he worked another 7 years, the time flew by. His life was truly changing. The discussion says Jacob now had 2 wives. Each wife had a handmaid whom Jacob also eventually married. Leah had 6 sons and a daughter. Zilpah and Bilhah had 2 sons each. God finally blessed Rachel with a son. She would later have a second son. God prospered Jacob with livestock such as cattle, camels, donkeys, and goats. He had staff and servants. God spoke to Jacob. He told him to return to his father's house. He reminded him, I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowed a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And that's Genesis 31, verse 13. Jacob had many life-changing events which shaped him into the man he became. Rachel played a great part in him staying with Laban as long as he did. His estranged relationship with his brother even played a role in how he aligned his family for the trip back home. His next life-changing encounter would impact him spiritually and physically. The application says, one night Jacob arose and sent his two wives, Leah and Rachel, along with his 11 sons, over the brook to protect them. Jacob was left alone, which implied that he desired private time. This gave him the opportunity to unveil himself completely before the Lord without distractions. There a man wrestled with him, while in earnest prayer he somehow got a firm grasp, took hold of God. The man fought with him until the dawning of the next day, unable to win or get loose. The man injured Jacob's thigh, dislocating it. He still would not release his grasp. Injured but determined, the wrestling continued. The man wrestled in the darkness. He afflicted Jacob, and yet Jacob held on. Finally, he spoke, telling Jacob to let go of him. Jacob's life was changed at that moment. Although angels have been referred to as taking on the form of man, it was clear that this was a hand of God event. He said, "The day breaks," which implied that Jacob had another matter to address with the new day. This did not deter him. Jacob proved that he would hold on to the Lord no matter what. He toiled all night, and he would not let go until he received his blessing. The angel asked Jacob his name. This was not because he did not know whom he was wrestling. It was an opportunity to identify him and recognize himself. He was given a new name and shown the power of the gift of God within himself. Angels were extremely powerful. To allow Jacob to grasp and hold him revealed the true prevailing power of the Holy Ghost. Jacob now inquired of the man his name. Instead of answering, he responded, "Why?" as if to say that the name was not important. The man blessed Jacob. Jacob called the name of the place Penuel. He had met God and his life was changed. His words, "I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved," revealed that Jacob recognized that he was not a champion or conqueror over the angel. It was only because of God's mercy that his life was preserved. A permanent limp from the shrank sinew of his thigh would be a reminder of why he named the place Penuel, or Penuel, face of God. God kept his promise, and Jacob returned home to a place of peace. Even the relationship with his brother Esau had restored. The lesson illustration. Like Jacob, many people go through three things until it impacts them both spiritually and physically. Some stress themselves into sicknesses. Others have a complete upheaval of their lives and relationships with others. Jacob places his entire focus on God, and this helps him to get the breakthrough that he needs in a most trying time. He did not have time to focus upon the darkness, the separation from his family, or that he was left alone. He stays dedicated to his purpose. He seeks a blessing all night long, even until the break of day. He holds on for dear life, even through the pain of affliction. The questions for today's lesson. Question 1. Who did Jacob meet at the well, and what happened when he saw her? 2. What agreement did Jacob make with Laban? Break down how many children he had by his 4 wives. Why are 2 of them referred to as concubines? 3. Explain how the 2 concubines became wives. 4. With whom did Jacob wrestle? Why did he name the place Penuel? 5. What happened to Jacob's thigh? The end. God bless you, and thank you for joining me today.